I'm going to keep this straightforward because when you're looking at something as pricey as a dedicated outdoor TV box, the last thing you need is fluff. What matters most is whether the enclosure actually protects your screen when the sun is beating down, the rain is coming down hard, and you're still able to watch a game without squinting. If you've ever hesitated at the idea of spending a couple $100 on a shelter that might end up being just a decorative metal frame, this review is for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the problem this kind of product solves. Outdoor TVs are great for patios, pool decks, or backyard walls, but they are also exposed to temperature swings, UV rays, and the occasional bird. Most standard TV covers are flimsy tarps that keep out dust but do nothing for glare or temperature, and they can actually trap heat, leading to premature panel failure. That's why manufacturers have started building full-size enclosures with sealed doors, tempered glass, and airflow systems. The Apollo 55-inch model is positioned right in the middle of that market. It promises a tight seal, anti-glare glass, and a thermostatically controlled vent that should keep the TV in its sweet spot. Who should actually consider buying this? If you already have a 49 to 55-inch TV that you love and you want to move it outside permanently, this is a solid option. It's also a good fit for people who entertain frequently and want the TV to be a permanent part of the patio, not a piece of equipment you pull out only on special occasions. Homeowners with a dedicated outdoor entertainment area, especially those in regions that get hot summers and occasional rain, will find the protection value worth the investment. On the flip side, if you only plan to watch a game once a month, or you're renting and can't make permanent modifications, the cost might outweigh the benefit. Also, if you're looking for a lightweight, portable solution that you can set up and take down in minutes, the Apollo's heavy-duty aluminum frame and built-in swing brackets make it more of a semi-permanent fixture than a quick-deploy cover. Now, let's walk through the actual setup experience. The box arrives in 3 large pieces: the frame, the tempered glass panel, and the mounting hardware. The instructions are a bit dense, but they are organized in a logical order. Start with the frame, attach the side panels, then install the EZ mount interior brackets. The swing brackets are a clever touch because they let the TV pivot a few inches toward the viewer, which helps with glare reduction and makes it easier to hook up cables. You'll need a drill, a screwdriver, and a level. The whole process takes about an hour for someone who's comfortable with basic DIY. If you're not handy, you might want to enlist a friend or a professional, but it's definitely not a job that requires a specialist. The first thing most users notice is the anti-glare tempered safety glass. In bright daylight, a typical outdoor TV will reflect the sky like a mirror, making it almost impossible to see the picture. The Apollo's glass is angled slightly downward and treated to cut that reflection, so the screen remains readable even at noon. I tested it on a sunny Saturday, and while there was still a faint halo around the brightest highlights, the image stayed legible without having to crank up the TV's brightness. That's a real win because many people end up buying a TV with an ultra-high brightness rating only to discover that glare makes it useless outdoors. Temperature control is another claim that often gets overpromised, so I paid close attention to the thermostatically controlled airflow system. The enclosure has 2 vent openings near the top and bottom, each with a small motor-driven flap that opens when the internal temperature reaches about 95 F. In practice, the system kicked in after the TV had been running for roughly 30 minutes in 85 F ambient heat, and it kept the internal temperature from climbing higher than 100 F. That's well below the typical failure point for most LCD panels, meaning the enclosure is actually doing the job of preventing heat buildup. It's also quiet. The vent motor produces a soft whir that's barely audible over a game's commentary. Sound quality can suffer when you put a TV behind glass and a sealed frame, but the Apollo addresses that with down-facing sound ports. The ports are positioned at the bottom of the enclosure, allowing low-frequency sound to escape while still keeping the interior sealed. In a side-by-side comparison with the TV uncovered, I noticed a slight dip in bass punch, but the overall clarity remained solid, and the difference wasn't enough to ruin an outdoor movie night. If you're a true audiophile and rely on a separate sound system, the ports will still let you route audio cables through the back without compromising the seal. There are a couple of practical drawbacks worth mentioning. The first is weight. The aluminum frame, tempered glass, and internal brackets add up to roughly 80 pounds, so moving the